Oh, yeah. What's up? This is Mouth Dancing episode 66. Thank you for tuning in. If you think numbers mean anything, then does it mean something when there's two of them in a row, like the same number? Twice? Is that something special? People seem to like those numbers, right? Like 11, 22, 33, 44, 55, 66, 77, 88, 99, 00. You know, what have you. Infinity, infinity. I wonder why that is. Anyway, today I wanted to talk about, music fans. Crazy music fans. People sometimes complain about them online. Like Eminem wrote that song, right? Stan, about a crazy stalker who's just obsessed with his idol and wants to be him and wants to hang out with him and wants to just basically taste him. It's kind of creepy and scary. And lately, this phenomenon is pretty popular or pretty common among fans of Korean pop music. K-pop stans are pretty notorious these days for just being wild, and just wild about their favorite performers and artists, and, even organizing online to do things like BTS's stans or just whatever Korean pop group like Twice, right? They all have crazy stans. And sometimes people complain about them. They're like, these music fans are out of control. The Beatles had this too with Beatlemania and Elvis, right? This has been going on forever. And I'm like, it could be a little concerning if the people are a little too crazy and stalkerish. Some of them occasionally cross over into criminal behavior, and that's concerning, but you don't hear about too many of them committing murder or anything like that. And their fandom seems, for the most part, it's pretty harmless. And a lot of times they're trying to make positive changes in the world. But they get way too much flack, I think, compared to serial killer groupies. Like, pretty much every serial killer has groupies, or, had groupies before they were executed or before they died. Like Richard Ramirez, this guy, the Night Stalker, was killing people all over, Southern California. When he was in court, he attracted all these women who were just in love with him. And I'm like, doesn't that seem way more problematic than someone who's a fan of a pop star? I mean, as long as the fan is not a stalker. I mean, I guess, maybe serial killer fans are not as common. Maybe that's why people don't make as big of a deal out of it, and there just aren't as many serial killers as there are pop stars. But still, you gotta kind of question this person's judgment. Like, why would you fall in love with a serial killer? Is it because you think that they're truly innocent? Or are you actually attracted to their psychopathic nature? Is that why? Maybe you're actually drawn to that dark side of them. And aren't you kind of enabling that kind of behavior and encouraging it? Maybe there's guys out there who think, if I become a serial killer, I'll have all these female fans who are in love with me. And usually it's a guy, right? I mean, there aren't that many female serial killers. There are a few out there, but they're not as common. And we as a society, we just don't seem to come down on these serial killer groupies that hard. We almost seem to, pity them, or just we're curious about them, but we don't really seem to pass any judgment like, hey, don't do that. That's pretty fucking weird. And then people will say, you're free to love whoever you want. But then they get all up in arms about pop star fans. Like, what's the fucking deal there? There's a problem here. And we need to tell people to not be fans of serial killers. We should start campaigning about that. That's a way bigger deal. It's a way bigger problem. And it's just far more depraved. You know how women, or even men, or just whatever gender of people, they say they're looking for a partner with a sense of humor, right? This is a really popular trait in other people. Like, I have to marry someone, or I have to date someone who has a great sense of humor. So I wonder why, like, shouldn't clowns be a really popular, like, partner? Like, shouldn't they have, like, tons of dates all the time? Or if you want to become, like, popular with people and you want to have more dates, maybe you should become a clown, right? Because, I mean, sense of humor is a really popular thing that people are looking for. But then I wonder, do clowns even have that many dates? I never really hear about people saying, God, I really want to date a clown because they have such great senses of humor. Seems like if there's like some sort of a clown academy, there would be just people lined up outside of it, like fans who want to date these people. Because, I mean, who has a better sense of humor than a clown, right? That's their profession. They work on it day in and day out, being funny, right? And yeah, it makes me wonder, why aren't clowns more popular, first of all? And second of all, why don't more people become clowns to try to attract partners? Let's get to the first one. Why aren't clowns more popular? Well, maybe they are. And maybe I just don't know about it because I'm not too familiar with the clown world. Maybe clowns are just drowning in it, maybe their groupies are just insane. They're stans, they're fans. And they can't keep their calendar clear because they got a date every night of the week. But from my impression, from what I gather, clowns are actually not that popular at all. People make fun of them all the time. And, there's the stereotype of the sad clown. There's even a famous song by Smokey Robinson, right, about the tears of a clown. And they seem kind of like tragic figures almost. They don't seem very popular at all among, people for dating. And I wonder why that is. It just adds to the tragedy of clowns, right? And I really feel for them sometimes. They say under every funny man is a sad man, or every funny woman is a sad woman. It's just masking a really dark sadness inside. Like Robin Williams, he was funny, but then he killed himself. Maybe that's why. Maybe the sense of humor, even if it's there, it's not enough to counterbalance that sadness. Maybe initially people are like, God, I really want to date that clown. That person seems really funny. But then when they get to know them better, that sadness and depression maybe repels them. And second, why don't more people become clowns? I think it's because what I mentioned earlier about the stereotype of clowns being sad, and also just the way they get made fun of. Society kind of shuns clowns. There's even jokes all over the internet about clowns. People are always like calling someone a clown if they don't like what they're saying or what they're doing. They're like, that person's a clown, a bozo. So maybe that's why. I think I've sort of unlocked this mystery here of why clowns aren't more popular among romantic partners. What are you guys' thoughts? I really want to hear back from you guys sometimes. Comment on my videos or my Twitter account. Come say hi to me. Lastly, and this kind of ties in with what I just talked about with clowns being sad, is the subject of men crying. A lot of people, they say that when they see a man crying, they find it absolutely disgusting. Like a lot of straight women, they'll be like, I can't deal with the man crying. I find it so unattractive. And it makes me think the man is weak and I can't trust him. I can't rely on him for safety or protection. I've heard that a lot. There's some women who actually like it. But I think most women, even if they won't admit it, I think deep down they're kind of grossed out by seeing a dude cry, right? Maybe I'm wrong? If I'm wrong, let me know. And men are ashamed of crying a lot of times. Maybe they cry privately, at home. Maybe they cry into their pillow so no one can hear and no one knows about it. I haven't cried that many times because crying is for sissies. That's not true. I actually cry a lot. I cry pretty easily, A movie can make me cry, or a song. And just sad things can make me cry. But I try not to cry in front of other people because I don't want people to say, look at that guy, he's crying, what a wuss. So I have to hide it away. So if I'm going to watch a really moving and emotionally stirring movie, I'll do it at home, eating popcorn, just sobbing big tears. And yeah, I think that's what a lot of men do. But then some men, they don't even cry in private. They just hold it all in. And those guys, they got problems, man. Because eventually all those emotions are going to come out in some way or another, and it might not be the healthiest way. They might end up harming themselves or other people. And yeah, that's why we all got to have a good cry sometimes, right? Robert Smith sang about it in that Cure song, Boys Don't Cry. I think basically what he was saying in that song, though, was that boys do cry, or they should be allowed to cry. Crying, it's okay, right? There's even a movie about it, The Crying Game. I think that's a movie about crying, and it's all about embracing your inner crybaby. Everyone should cry sometimes. Or everyone does cry sometimes. It's a natural emotion, actually, and we shouldn't pretend like it doesn't exist among those of us who identify as masculine men, right? What'd be kind of crazy is if there was like some sort of a secret club where men got together and cried. It'd be like one of those parties where dudes get together and like spank it onto a piece of toast or a cracker or something. But instead they get together and cry. And then it would be a big scandal if it ever made the news. Like people would be like, secret den of crying men discovered in local town. And then, it would be a big scandal because there'd be all these like famous dudes in the group. And this paparazzi person would have taken pictures of them crying. People would be just absolutely revolted by it. Let's not let it get there. We don't need secret societies formed around men crying. We need to just let men cry. I want to see more men crying, on TV and stuff. And just in public, I want to see men crying. And then if you see a man crying, give him a hug or a handshake and say, "It's okay, buddy. We all go through it sometimes." That's my message for this episode. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you next time. Bye.